Soren Kierkegaard. How can an individual achieve authentic existence through faith? Soren Kierkegaard, born in Copenhagen in 1813, lived a short but intellectually explosive life that laid the groundwork for modern existentialism. Raised in a strict religious household, he was deeply influenced by his father's melancholic piety and a profound sense of inherited guilt, an atmosphere that would later permeate his entire philosophical inquiry. Though he studied theology at the University of Copenhagen, he soon found himself at odds with the abstract systems of his time, particularly Hegelianism, which he felt erased the individual. A broken engagement to Regine Olsen became a pivotal crisis, fueling a prolific writing career as he wrestled with themes of sacrifice, love, and ethical duty. Writing under various pseudonyms, Kierkegaard explored conflicting viewpoints without settling on a single dogmatic truth. His major works, such as Either / or In Fear and Trembling, challenge readers to confront the weight of personal choice. In an era that prized objective certainty, Kierkegaard championed the subjective inner life, insisting that truth is not something to be known distantly, but something to be lived passionately. Subjectivity is truth. Kierkegaard confronted a philosophical landscape dominated by objective systems that sought to explain all of existence through logic. He argued that such systems, while impressive, failed to address the concrete reality of the living human being. For an individual facing the critical questions of how to live and what to believe, objective facts offer little guidance. His crucial insight was that ethical and religious truths are not objects of scientific observation, they are realities that must be appropriated inwardly. To say that subjectivity is truth is not to deny objective reality, but to assert that the most significant truths are those that matter to the subject personally and passionately. One can know every doctrine of a faith or rule of ethics, yet if these do not transform the inner life, they remain untruths for that individual. This shift moved philosophy away from abstract speculation toward the intense, and often agonizing, responsibility of the self. The leap of faith. Rationality often seeks to build bridges between the known and the unknown, attempting to prove religious truths through logic. However, this reliance on reason hits a wall when faced with the absolute paradox of the divine. A genuine relationship with the divine requires a movement that logic cannot justify, a qualitative transition where the individual abandons the safety of probability. This movement is not a gradual slide but a decisive leap across the abyss of uncertainty. By emphasizing this breach with reason, Kierkegaard highlights that faith is not a form of knowledge but a state of being that exists only in the tension of the absurd. The individual must hold fast to their conviction precisely because it cannot be rationally demonstrated, making faith a feat of passion rather than the conclusion of an argument. The three stages of existence. Kierkegaard viewed human life as a journey of becoming, evolving through distinct modes of existence. Initially, one may live in the aesthetic sphere, governed by the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of boredom. Here, life is a series of fleeting moments lacking continuity. This often leads to despair as the self realizes the emptiness of fleeing from responsibility. This crisis can propel the individual into the ethical sphere, where life is structured by duty, universal rules, and enduring commitments. While the ethical life provides stability, it may fail to account for the unique, exceptional predicament of the individual before God. The final movement is toward the religious sphere, where the self stands alone before the divine, transcending universal ethics in favor of a personal, often paradoxical, relationship with the absolute. This progression is not automatic, it requires a conscious act of will at every turn. Kierkegaard's insistence on the primacy of the individual remained largely dormant until the 20th century, when it ignited the existentialist movement. His critique of mass society and systematic philosophy profoundly influenced thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Martin Heidegger, who adopted his analysis of angst and the burden of freedom. Theologians such as Karl Barth and Paul Tillich drew heavily on his concept of the qualitative difference between God and humanity. Beyond academia, his exploration of the leap and the subjective nature of truth continues to resonate in psychology and literature, prefiguring the modern search for meaning in a secular world. By dismantling the comfort of objective systems, Kierkegaard forced subsequent generations to confront the solitude of the human condition.